Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're down in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we're visiting DDI. What's DDI stand for, Dave?
Destructive Devices Industries.
Destructive Devices Industries. DDI manufactures some AKs. You guys surely have heard of them by now. They've been popping up all over YouTube and in print magazine articles and stuff like that. You guys are creating quite a splash. By the way, this is David Fillers. David is the CEO of DDI. Thanks for having me on, David.
Well, I appreciate you coming down.
All right, so let's talk about a couple of things. First of all, David did ask some questions on the AK files. We'll get to those questions here shortly. But I wanted to bring you guys down along with me and just take a look at what goes on here at DDI. A lot of you guys have been asking questions about what does the manufacturing look like, where are they located, what are the guys up to, and you just recently moved into new facilities, right?
Yeah, we were in a dungeon before, and we outgrew it. It was almost as bad as an Afghani cave. So yeah, we're in a really nice facility now. We've got all our CNC machines lined up properly. We've got really good storage for parts. We've actually even got you were in it this morning, 25-yard indoor range. We're kind of excited about that.
Yeah, it's a nice little range.
Yeah.
You guys just started shooting on it a few days ago, right?
Just a few days ago. We've got the cameras still need to be installed. We got a little bit of ventilation issues we got to deal with, but it's going to be 100% functional, I think, by next week.
And that's where you guys do all your testing of your rifles that you produce?
Yeah, I mean, not only testing, when we build a gun, we take it out and we zero the gun.
Which is really kind of cool. I think that's pretty
Yeah,
neat.
we want to make sure, I mean, part of the zeroing process is also function. So we're checking for function, and then we're zeroing it. One of the biggest issues with AKs that, everyone says, are my sights straight? Are my sights straight?
Yeah.
I've got to go all the way over here. So we have to finesse those sights to get them lined up pretty good, and also so that it's somewhat in the middle when you zero them. And you can pretty much purchase one of our AKs, get it out of the box, and hit, I'd say easily 90% of the time, a good shooter, a fairly good shooter can hit a high plate at about 100 yards.
That's a nice touch, because like you said, one of the biggest complaints I've seen in the gun shop business is people want to know if the sights are aligned. They're always looking at the sights, trying to figure out if the gun's aligned. And I mean, I've seen misaligned sights on just about every manufacturer. It's not just the WASR 10s. I've seen it in Bulgarian guns. I've seen it in Russian guns. So it's nice that you guys are zeroing the guns here at the range. It was fun watching all that happen. Let's talk a little bit about some of the products that you guys offer. First of all, I remember the first rifle I saw from you guys was a rifle very much like this. I actually have a video on it. A machine receivered underfolder AK. You've also produced stamped receivered AKs. You guys are now using the Magpul furniture, which is really nice. But let's kind of talk about the evolution of the company, and let's talk about how it all got started and its relationship to Waffenwerks. I mean, those are questions I've seen asked quite a bit.
DDI is basically a partnership owned by two people, myself and my other partner, who is a former veteran himself, former officer. I was a former officer in the military.
I won't hold that against you.
Yeah, thank you. He's also an engineer. He's a West Point grad engineer, and it is really nice, especially for someone like myself, to have a real engineer as an owner. That has helped us out tremendously over the last year. But we decided to basically form a partnership, and we decided to buy out the assets of Waffenwerks. Basically, the machines, some of the parts kits, tools, benches, that stuff adds up. So Waffenwerks really wasn't doing well at the end, and so we decided to purchase those.
So it was an asset purchase, and then you guys started a new company based upon some of the tooling and stuff that you guys had received in that asset purchase?
Yes.
Okay. And let's talk about then some of the guns that you're producing right now. For example, a lot of the parts on the guns right now are U.S. made, but some of them are still parts kits parts. Yeah, so you're seeing parts kits from what countries?
Right now, the last bit of the milled guns from 4140 are using Bulgarian milled part sets.
Okay.
And our stamp guns currently use Hungarian part sets.
Okay.
They're like new part sets. They're gorgeous.
So I was watching when you guys were taking the parts sets ends, the milled guns. You're taking those parts in and you were breaking them down. You're checking them. You're measuring them. You're refinishing them. You're making sure that they're good to go. What goes into making sure that the parts that you get out of a part set are ready for a DDI build?
It's quite a lot of work. Most of the part sets come in, they're really greasy or cosmoline, so they have to be cleaned properly first. Then you have to go through. Some are demilled correctly, some are not demilled correctly. Sometimes you'll get a trunnion that has the back half of the receiver connected, so you have to take that off. Some of the Of course, this is ours, but some of the surplus trunnions still have the rivets, part of the rivet in there. You have to drill that out. So then you have to go through, and we go through and check a lot of the parts, especially the front trunnion area, which is very critical. We're getting a failure rate right now, and we don't, of about 15% on the front trunnions.
When you say failure rate, you mean the testing?
When I take that front trunnion, I put this on this basically a jig we have, and we measure it for hole consistency and straightness. About 15% of them we just basically get rid of.
Okay.
Can't use them.
Well, let's talk about that as well. So let's talk about the barrels. Now, first of all, what parts are U.S. made and what parts are parts from kits?
On the milled gun right now, we have, this is made by us, 100%. Got the machines behind me that make this from a solid piece of 4140. This particular model will be going away fairly soon. We'll be talking a little bit later about the replacement model. We have the brand new Green Mountain barrel, U.S. made barrel. Since we have an engineer on staff, we drew this barrel up. We tightened up the tolerances on it. The tolerances are about twice as tight as any other manufacturer that uses Green Mountain barrels.
Okay. As it relates to AKs?
As it relates to AKs, yes. Okay. AKs. Very happy with the performance of these barrels, and I believe there's lots of reviews out there talking about how well people are doing with them. TAPCO fire control parts, G2, can't beat it.
Yeah,
it's
I agree.
Good fire control parts.
Very good trigger group.
And then I believe the rest of the parts here are Bulgarian. I mean, of course, some of the rivets are U.S. Majority of rivets are U.S. Pins are U.S. This furniture here is Bulgarian furniture.
I love the Bakelite furniture.
Bakelite.
I mean, that Bakelite.
It's a sad thing the Bakelite's just going away.
I know. I mean, I'm so glad to have one of these because I tell you that furniture is beautiful.
We purchased about every single milled Bulgarian kit that we could find in the U.S. and we've been using them for the last year, and we're down to, I think, less than 100.
Oh, wow.
And that's it. We cannot find any more. But that's fine. We're moving on to something else. To talk about the U.S. The stamp guns, this is a U.S. receiver, U.S. fire control parts, again, a U.S. Green Mountain barrel. But this Green Mountain barrel is a little bit different. In the milled guns, currently we're using chrome lion barrels. We're getting away from that, as we found with all the stamp guns, the phenicited barrel, which is a form of ferritic nitrocarbonizing. It's kind of our special sauce.
Nitriding.
Nitriding, basically.
In simplistic terms.
Yeah, or F&C is a good one too. But anyways, it's a gas-based system. So we're finding this phenicite is holding up extremely well. We can't believe it's holding up well to elements. It's holding up well to continuous fire. Full auto fire. It's done very well.
I like the process.
Oh, the process has been around for like 20, 30, 40 years, and it's been used in automotive industry.
Well, it's hard to get people to shift away. People know chrome. A lot of people think that chrome lining is the best you can possibly get, and I would argue, and I have argued for a few years now, that nitriding or processes similar to nitriding are actually better because it preserves accuracy. It doesn't enhance imperfections in the barrel, and it's just as durable. It makes the surface of that steel extremely hard, every bit as hard as chrome.
Well, when you're using chrome, they have to go in and they have to etch the metal. They have to etch that metal on the inside. So you're taking really nice lands and grooves that are pristine.
Right.
And now you're etching them and putting little divots, microscopic divots in there. Then you bring the chrome in, then you chrome it, and this is over-exaggeration, but you've got chroming in there, which is a layering process.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, what's a bullet going to do? I mean, it's
tough. I mean, the whole reason it came up was it made barrels easier to clean, and it extended the service life of the barrel. And it was easy to do, and the technology's been around for a long, long time. Nitriding is just the next step, next evolution of barrel treatments.
I talked to a major distributor that sells barrels, and he said he's selling about maybe 20-25% of his barrels are chrome lined. All the other ones are nitrided.
Yeah. Well, people are coming around.
People are figuring it out.
I figured out a couple of years ago, and the proof is in the pudding. When you sit down and shoot two guns, the nitrided barrel is always going to perform better, or at least in my experience.
Right.
Most of the time it performs better. Okay, so back to the U.S. parts. So we have a receiver, we have furniture, we have the barrel is U.S. made. What else is made? Did I say trigger group? Furniture, trigger group, receiver, barrel.
Yep, furniture. We have varying furniture. This is basically the full Shukov edition. This is my gun, so it's got some It's got some add-ons.
Some fancy stuff.
Little fancy stuff. You got the shook off. We've got what we call, there's an actual number for it, but we call it the shook mow. This has got the shook mow. It's what the guys in the shop call it. This has got the shook off folding stock, and it's got the mow grip and the mow forearm. This one has been a real good seller. It's kind of at the right price point, and you get the folding stock, which that's been, as far as all the Magpul furniture, this stock here has impressed me the most. We have two types of stamped folders right now. We have a Hogue folder, and we've got a wooden, uses the surplus wood. Then we've got the Hogue, the standard Hogue with the Phoenix stock. This is actually our best seller. It's, of course, it's excuse me, has the lowest price point. Has been our best seller so far. Great gun. It's a little lighter than the Magpul guns. Feels good. Hogue makes good stuff too.
Let's talk about the milled receiver and the stamped receiver. Here's one of the receivers that you guys use. It's a 1 mil thick receiver.
Yep.
You guys are putting these all together here.
Yes.
And then we have the machined receiver parts. And
this is machined. Now this is
forged and then machined.
Yeah. Normally what we did, especially with this, we took a big chunk of 4140.
Right.
I think you saw one around here. We're not using them anymore. Big chunk of 4140, and we put that in the machine, and we used a lot of bits and tools that were very expensive to come up with this machined receiver. Like I said, we're kind of transitioning. We've got, like I said, less than 100 of these to be built in the future. And then we're moving on. We're going to do something no one else has done. Yes, this is a hammer forging. This is going to be basically the first. Well, I'd say this one is right now the first milled hammer forged milled receiver. I don't believe anyone in the U.S. is doing that right now. So this is our forging, hammer forged. From there, we kind of make a pre-receiver to reduce a lot of the metal. I guess the old term was 80% receiver. From here, then we put it in the other machines. We have like 3 operations, and we come up with a receiver.
Right, which is the machines you see behind us doing
the
all that
ones right
fancy
behind
work.
us.
Interesting. Well, we did ask, or I should say you asked some questions of the guys over on the AK Files. Let's get to those questions now.
All right.
And let's see what they had to say. All right. Do you plan on importing any other AK models?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to ask what, because
I'm not going to tell you.
manufacturers typically and importers don't typically tell you what they have in the works. They'll talk about it when it's about ready to hit the market because they have competitors out there. And plus, if you start talking about stuff when you start working on deals, it could take a year or two before it actually comes to fruition, and that just upsets everybody.
But you'll see something new within the next, what's the date?
Careful.
It's going to happen.
Soon? Okay.
Yeah, real soon.
What's the most rounds you fired out of one of your tester AKs?
I think we've got one about 7,500, 8,000 rounds. That's an all finish-setted model. An AK isn't going to work for the most part if you get the proper gas setting and the proper builds and the right head spacing and the proper parts. But we wanted to basically test this for the Finicite, and after about 7,500, 8,000 rounds, we didn't see a whole lot of degradation in accuracy and very little change in the lands and the grooves. I mean, it has done real well.
This is something I think we should talk about. Talking about a quality build and getting the right parts for an AK. The U.S. market, some folks seem to think that an AK is built to be cheap, that it's easy to manufacture, you can just slap it together with hand tools, and it's just super simple, it's meant to have a lot of slop in it, whatnot. That's not true.
No, it's not true at all.
To build a proper AK is quite an involved process. It's very time consuming. I see a lot of hand fitting going on and people working with stuff manually. You're not just taking a piece of sheet metal, sticking it in a machine that's spitting out an AK.
No.
There's a lot of man hours that goes into putting the gun together, and man hours in the US aren't inexpensive. When you take something like this and you talk about a milled receiver, looking at the machining steps that's involved in producing this thing out of a hunk of steel or a hunk of 4140, that's time consuming even for a machine, right? So the notion that AKs are just slapped together within minutes and they can have all sorts of slop in them. If there's a couple parts of the AK, if you don't have the right components, you don't have the right rivets, you don't have the right dimensions, just a few thousandths of an inch off in a magazine well, the gun will not work right. So it's not like a bunch of monkeys can hammer them together and they're going to be 100% reliable. There's some finesse that goes into building
There's
one of
a
these
lot
rifles.
of finesse in that, and folks in the past in the U.S. have gotten it. Some have done well with it, some have not done well with it.
Well, there's been a lot of people that can't build AKs. They build guns that simply don't work.
You've got to have the proper gas setting. You have to have the proper head space. You know, you've got to have good solid rivets. It takes a lot.
So I just wanted to talk about that. I always find that to be interesting, the misconception out there. And then where are the AK-100 forward models hiding?
We won't. I don't know where they're hiding.
They're
We're
not
not going to do
hiding
them. I mean, Magpul makes this
Right.
really great stock. You know,
It's hard to compete with Magpul
It's hard
stuff
to
right now.
compete.
Yeah. All right. Are your milled guns built solely by DDI? And are you using any leftover Waffen Works parts and guns?
when we bought the assets again, we bought some parts kits, and I believe there were a few milled receivers that made it out that had the Waffen Works name on them, but a lot of that technology has been changed, and we're not used. That's the only thing we got from Waffen Works.
Okay. Any plans for a 5.45 rifle?
Yeah, we've got a small build for classic firearms. Please don't call them. Please don't email them. It's going to be a couple months, but they have some parts kits left over, and they wanted us to do a build, and so they're good partners of ours. I have a good relationship with all my customers. I mean, first name basis. We got Atlantic Firearms, AIM, AGS, Birmingham Pistol Parlor, again Classic, and Copper Customs. I mean, we're only selling to basically five places right now, and with our backlog, we're not going to open up anyone new because it'd be wrong.
It's hard to find guns here, guys, because they're all boxed
They're
up.
boxed. I mean, yeah, this one's mine. This one's a buddy of mine. Yeah, and these three are going out today.
We get them in a copper and they're gone instantly. So it's you guys are doing a good business. Here's another question: will DDI get into making their own front and rear trunnions and bolts?
Yeah, I mean, the DDI we've been using for the last month and a half our own AK-74 trunnion. The kits that we're using are underfolding kits, so they don't have a full stock trunnion. So
right.
We're using our Bulgarian style rail, and we wanted to use an AK-74 style trunnion, and actually this one here just needs that cut. This came back from the heat treater and the machinist, and this is what we're using. This is made in Tennessee.
So you guys are working towards more U.S. made parts?
Aggressively working towards more U.S. parts. When you get a failure rate on some of these parts kits and you're chucking parts aside left and right,
just make them ourselves.
It starts that might as well just make it ourselves.
All right, here's a really good one. I particularly like this question. When your employees build rifles, they wear pants? Is there a state law or something about that?
Most of the time, yes. It depends on how hot it is.
Yeah, it does get hot down here, guys. I've been down here this summer and it was like 108 degrees.
Oh,
I was like, dear Lord. All right. Okay, why with all the amazing correct builds have you yet to make the lightning cuts look legit?
Well, you can see from this one here, we've changed the lightning cuts some. A lot of it has to do with our machines and how our machines work. There are I think we were talking about this earlier, there are the purists, and then there are the new AK buyers that are coming in, and we think that this modification appeals to a lot of those new people coming in.
Right. Yeah, the AK community is kind of unique. I mean, there's a good segment of the AK community that just wants a traditional build. They don't want the latest and greatest and Magpul furniture. They want a classic-looking rifle that looks exactly like an early Russian production gun or something.
And there's some really good builders like Mark Krebs, Chase,
that's
Jim
Definitive
Ford.
Arms.
All those guys can do. I mean, they can do those kind of builds.
Right.
We're more of a production house, so we have to look at what we need to do to produce guns and get guns out the door.
All right, next question. Any plans for a 308 or a 6.5 model AK?
Not
currently?
even close. Not even close.
Let's see. Will you ever offer a 7.62 by 39 rifle with an AK-74M AK-100 series front sight block?
That is the sight block that the front sight that basically an AK-74 front sight with a compensator. Yes, that's what I want. That's what
you want.
That's what the CEO wants.
So I guess that means it's going to happen.
And the 90-degree gas block. That's what the CEO wants.
And let's see.
And sometimes I get what I want, sometimes I don't. But most of the time I do.
All right, so another question about the 5.45 rifles and then the quality control. So we already know that you guys are working on 5.45 rifles. Let's talk a little bit about the quality control. What do you guys do to make sure that the guns are ready to be boxed up and shipped? I know that you guys are test firing them, you're sighting them in.
Yeah. We during production, before they're refinished, we take them, we make sure they work, we sight them in, see if there's any issues. Then after they get painted, we bring them back over, they're checked out, they're opened up, they're oiled. We fire 3 rounds through them just to make sure that there's nothing has changed. And then again, we go through, we've got, I think, like 6 or 7 different magazines that we push in there. What we found recently is that the person that was checking is about 6'4", prior service, and has got arms like this. So when he was putting a mag in, oh, it goes in easy. Well, it might not be easy for other people. So we've kind of had to relook at that a little bit and loosen them up just a hair. But
which is kind of hard with AKs because there's so many different types of magazines out there.
There's so many.
There's
different
no
ones.
standard AK magazine. The Russian Bakelights will be thicker than the Korean steel magazines, and the Circle 10 Bulgarian mags are thicker than the Magpul mags. It's crazy. They're all over the place. So trying to find that magic size for a magazine well where somebody won't complain that their pet magazine doesn't work is kind of a challenge.
Yeah, and typically our guns are a little bit tighter built in pretty much all areas. I mean, you've got folks, I mean, I've seen all kinds of complaints that come in, but you know, this is tight. I mean, you feel that is super tight.
It is.
All right. Well, if you don't make it tight, they complain.
Right.
So we make it tight. But if you take this off and put it on, you've got to just push it forward and push it down. It's not going to go in like a beater AK, just slap it together. Okay.
Right.
Folks want it tight, but when you make it tight, you also have to really take care to put it in there.
Another interesting point. People, it doesn't matter who makes the AK overseas, Russians, Bulgarians, Poles, whoever, their AKs don't really live up in many cases to American expectations of quality. Americans have this taste for everything has to be absolutely perfect. Even when they buy a Wasser 10, they want that Wasser 10 to be absolutely perfect. I wish I had $1 for every email asking me, is this normal? And somebody's trying to show their mag wobble or whatever. And AKs, the military grade AKs really don't live up to what most Americans that are typical AR-15 buyers don't live up to the quality expectations. So people like you were forced to make things at a tighter tolerance, to make sure the sights are square. Because I've seen Russian and Bulgarian AKs that have the sights way off to one side. You can get the guns on paper, but your front sight's way the heck over on one side or the other. So it's really tough for you guys because they're trying to hold you to a $500 price point, but they want you to build it with absolutely flawless specs. So I mean, there's
you know
kind
what?
of
I can't blame the consumer because I'm a consumer too. I want the absolute best
you can get
price
for your money,
but I want the
absolutely.
most I can get. So
yeah.
It's not, and that's competition. It's not easy, but it's something that we strive for. I mean, take for example the finish. I mean, there are a lot of military grade weapons are just basically spray painted. I mean, you know, that's it. I mean, this is KG gun coat.
Yeah.
This is not cheap.
There are AKs out there, I won't mention them by name, you use an aggressive carburetor cleaner or something on them, will take the finish right off the gun.
Right off. I mean, you can use that on ours. It's going to hold up. I mean, this is, pass the salt test, whatever, for the military, but this is a baked-on finish, and that takes time.
So you got a KG gun coat. Let's talk about the finishes. So you have the finish sight on the barrel, the finish sight on the bolt,
and carrier, and a couple other smaller parts here. Then all of that, except for the bolt and bolt carrier, are painted with a KG gun coat, and of course sandblasted, then painted, then put in the oven for an hour or so, or and then brought back out, touch up paint and other paints, and put back in the oven. It's a lot of process. I mean, I think normally good builders out there charge about a couple $100 to do a KG gun coat finish.
Oh yeah, if I send a gun out to get it finished, you're going to pay a couple $100 to get a complete refinish.
That comes with ours. Boom.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is. I mean, we're a new young company. I want to be careful not to say this with any bias, but I believe these weapons sell, these rifles here sell well under $1,000. I think this is a $1,000, $1,200 gun. I mean, you know, I can compare it against other high-end guns. It's better finished, it's more accurate, better customer service.
I'll tell you what, they're getting really good reviews out there.
Yeah.
You know, Rob Ski is very critical of AKs. You've seen, you know,
He
articles
is
written.
very critical of AKs.
That
yes.
guy will beat a gun
Oh,
up. I
man.
mean, he is dead honest in his assessments of things. And you know, if Rob likes an AK, chances are the AK is probably going to be a good one. All right, Dave, well, is there anything else that you want to tell us about what's going on here? Is there anything else you can share with us? You guys going to SHOT Show?
We're going to go to SHOT Show. We will not have a booth. I don't see a whole lot of need in it, but we are going to, we'll have one of those questions talked about something new. We will have that in the country, and we'll have that at the Big 3, but I think that's basically for reviewers and whatnot. So
Yeah, the gun riders and
you'll
stuff.
be there.
I'll be down there. Yep.
So there'll be a lot of good videos coming out. And
Just so you guys know, the Big 3 is a media event that's held in October. It comes up right after Eric, Iraq Veterans shoot. We're going to be running down there. You guys will be there. So you're going to see a lot of media coverage from the various YouTube channels and gun riders.
Right.
So just so everybody knows what Big 3 is. All right, well, Dave, thanks for having us out. If people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way they can reach you?
best thing to do is contact me on Facebook. I answer most of the questions. You can email customer service at ddiarms.com. Those are usually the best two ways.
Okay. I'll put links down in the description below, and if people want to come by and ask questions on the video for the first couple of days, you're going to swing by and answer their questions?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so if you guys want to post those questions down below, please go ahead and do that, and Dave will swing by. The CEO himself is going to come by and answer your questions.
Right.
And if you guys have any questions about anything you've seen in this video, of course, you can ask those questions on our own Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/military arms. Also, please come by and check out Copper Custom. It's our online store. If you want to support the Military Arms channel, it's the best possible way. We have a lot of great products at great prices. And if you haven't already, please check out full30.com. That's full30.com. We've taken all the web's best firearms content creators and brought them under one roof, and that is full30.com. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Sounds like they're getting back to work.
They're getting back to work.
We better tie this video up. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. Appreciate it.